Whoa.
Hey, welcome to Daddy-Daughter Movie Night. I'm Tom. This is the show where a father of a young daughter is trying desperately to find movies to watch with her that they can both enjoy. Today we're going to be watching or talking about Secret of the Wings. It's a 2012 entry into the Tinkerbell canon from Disney. So far, for me, the best of the bunch. Now, didn't I just say that we're looking for movies that a grown daddy like yourself can enjoy? Why are you suggesting a movie about fairies and pixie dust and Disney Tinkerbell movie? The simple answer is that it's really a great movie. It's a great story. It has lots of themes that you've come to enjoy in movies that you used to watch, I'm sure, in the before time. Siblings separated at birth who reunite, find each other, and realize they have powers they didn't know they had and a destiny they didn't know they had to reunite their societies and bring peace or order to the world around them. Could be Star Wars, could be other movies, but here in Secret of the Wings, it's really well done and resonates really well with an adult viewer. And really, my daughter Abby really reacted well to this movie. She loved this movie. She can watch it over and over. So let's get to the plot. In this film, Tinkerbell learns that warm fairies like herself are not permitted to enter the winter woods. This piques her curiosity, and as you might expect, one day she ventures across the border where she's confronted with a mystery. Her wings begin to sparkle and glow. Knowing the dangers posed to her warm fairy wings by the winter cold, she suits up warmly and stows away with a group of snowy owls and heads back to the winter woods to get to the bottom of it all. There she finds the keeper of all fairy knowledge and encounters Periwinkle, a frost fairy on a parallel quest to uncover the secret of her own wings, which sparkle in response to Tinkerbell's. Watch.
Well, I'll be a Yeti's uncle. In all my years.
Tinkerbell isn't called Tinker for nothing, and she builds a snow machine to allow her sister Perry to visit her in the warmer climes of Pixie Hollow. Soon this plan goes all wrong, and they must rush Perry back to winter before her cold weather wings are destroyed. It's here they encounter Lord Mallory, Lord of Winter, who issues a dire warning about their two worlds.
This is why we do not cross the border.
No, it could have worked. We just needed a bigger piece of ice.
And when that was gone, your wings could have broken.
But they didn't. I'm fine. Thanks to them.
The rule is there to protect you. I'm sorry. You two may never see each other again.
Oh, please don't do this. We belong together.
We're sisters. We were born of the same laugh.
All the more reason you should want to keep each other safe. Return home.
Mallory tries to destroy the snow machine to keep Periwinkle from crossing again, but in doing so he accidentally creates a big freeze, which spreads across Pixie Hollow and threatens the fairy way of life. The fairies rally and try to set this right, but it's a little too late, and the freeze grows stronger and colder by the moment. Realizing she's to blame, Tinkerbell rushes back to the winter woods, this time more hastily, and asks Periwinkle and the Frost Fairies for help, frosting the pixie dust tree against the encroaching ice.
Spread out to spring and summer. The rest of you, cover the tree.
This reunites Lord Mallory and Queen Clarion, who we discover have a romantic past. A young Mallory was the pixie who long ago ventured to the warm side of town and paid a steep price for loving Clarion, a broken wing for which there is no cure. In her grief, the young queen declared that the warm fairies and cold fairies should forever remain apart, a decision now put to the test by Tinker Bell's adventure. As the winter fairies stand guard against the freeze, all of Pixie Hollow faces the consequences in a showdown with nature that could be the end of both warm and cold fairy worlds forever. Well, I'm not going to tell you how it ends. You can take a good guess, but just that scene alone is very effective, I think, and it's a great climax. Had me hooked. Had my daughter watching it over and over again, be warned. She just loves this movie. She started watching it when she was in her 2-year-old year. She still loves it, still watches it, still asks for it. Every time we go to the toy store, she asks for fairy wings, which are right behind me, and gets glitter all over the house, and I think that's a small price to pay for the amount of enjoyment she gets out of this movie. And it's a great story. It promotes self-discovery in kids, curiosity, trusting instincts and hunches, bravery in facing your fears, group dynamics, putting the needs of others before your own. For instance, it's foreshadowed in this movie very early on that when a fairy's wings break, that's it. They can never fly again. There's no cure. That comes up again and again later with Lord Mallory and Queen Clarion. But when it's the only way to put things right, Tinker Bell risks her own well-being in a very manageable way for the fears of a young kid. It's nothing too traumatic to watch. She puts the needs of the others ahead of her own and ventures back into the winter woods to ask for help. Dads of a certain age, you're going to possibly enjoy the fact that this movie has a 007, a James Bond connection with Timothy Dalton voicing Lord Mallory, Lord of Winter. Others of you may remember him from the 1980s Flash Gordon movie, which is a guilty pleasure of mine. He plays Prince Baron in that movie. I think that's what put him on the stage. Angelica Houston plays Queen Clarion in this movie and has a background with Lord Mallory, which comes full circle in the plot, as I mentioned. And Mae Whitman from Parenthood, the daughter in that TV series, voices Tinker Bell in the entire series and does a great job. If you're a newer parent, you may be coming to realize that when you're watching anything with your young one, you have to keep that remote control handy just to fast forward over any very intense or scary parts. For this movie and other movies, we'll be giving a throttling score for doing just that. How often you have to, jump over those parts. This movie gets a pretty perfect score, I guess, of 0, because we didn't have to do much of that at all. Maybe on the first go around, long ago now, when Abby was 2, there was a scene with a cat character when you first encounter Fiona, the cat. It's a little scary in that moment, but Fiona turns out to be a friendly character who helps them set the world to rights, and on subsequent viewings, it's not scary at all. Maybe a little intense. If you have, younger kids who might just find anything that's too frantic or over-the-top action scary, there's some of that in this movie. There are some frantic scenes of activity where everyone's very concerned about, saving Pixie Hollow. But that would be on a very generic level for a child who's just so young that, just that intensity is bothersome. But, above 3 years old, I'm going to say perfect score. If anything, you'd want to keep the remote control handy in this movie to rewind things that your little one wants to see over and over. I know there's a scene when the cold fairies come to the rescue. Lord Mallory changes his mind and realizes that they all must work together for their way of life. It's stirring, and she goes bonkers for it. So really a perfect score on the remote, but do keep it handy to rewind things. But this movie's so solid that Abby is very content just to let it roll all the way through to the end and never gets bored with any of it. There are no off notes here. As an adult, you'll never be bored watching this movie. I wasn't on the umpteenth time, and that's a good thing because there's going to be many more viewings of this movie in my house. I highly recommend Secret of the Wings, available now on both Amazon and Netflix. As of this post, add it to your watch list right now for your next daddy-daughter movie night. We'll be back soon with more reviews, and if you have ideas for movies that others may enjoy watching with their little ones, leave them in the comments below, or suggestions for things you'd like us to talk about on future shows, throw them down in the comments and we'll get to those. Till then, I'm Tom, and we'll see you next time on Daddy Daughter Movie Night.